fall into my hair.
And welcome back to my channel. It was requested for me that I did a video about how to zero waste or go plastic free when you're at work or at school or at uni. I'm at uni, so the tips will evolve around what I do in my daily routine. So if you can use any of my tips, that'd be lovely. I know you may think I look a bit summery, and yes I do, and I don't know why. I was just out for a ride on my bike an hour ago before I started filming. I was wearing two jumpers. The weather, if you have ever seen typical Danish autumn weather, you will know what a devil it is. It is windy and grey and cold and rainy as fuck. Also, as you may can see, the dreadlock process is actually going quite well. I didn't expect that it would evolve this soon, but it seems to be on its way towards something crazy. So yeah, if you want me to do an entire video about my dreadlock process and the becoming of natural dreadlocks, I would be happy to do it. But for now, I'm going to talk about zero wasteness and plastic freeness in school or at work. Yeah. The first thing is we have a cafeteria at my uni, and when I'm not bringing my own lunch from home, I usually just grab something there, and the plates are paper and the forks and knives and such are plastic. So of course there was something I need to do there, and I got these banana leaf bowls from my mother. She bought them somewhere or found them somewhere, I don't know. Maybe they were sitting in her house, I'm not quite clear about that. But I have a ton of these now, and they're really lightweight. The food that I pick in the cafeteria is something that has to be weighed on a scale, so this is really brilliant for that because it is so lightweight it won't show up on the price. And of course I am bringing fork and knife myself. This is a tiny set that I inherited from my grandfather. I really like it. It is silver, and I love silver. Whatever. You can also get sporks, I think they're called, and I really recommend that because it sounds like a really great concept. I do not have one myself yet, but I really like the idea. So yes, that is usually what I do when I buy food at the cafeteria. If I do not buy food, however, there's an entirely other process that I need to go through. First of all, I need something to hold my lunch that is plastic free. For that I have stainless steel containers like this Eco lunchbox. I will of course leave links to the stuff that you can buy down below. That is essential. But if you do not want to buy stuff, you can also go look in thrift stores and stuff like that and see if you can find anything there, because usually they actually have something that you can use, and go for that. But I have this Eco lunchbox. It is in 3 layers, so I can divide my food into 3 sections, which I actually like, so I don't have to mix my salad with pasta, whatever. So yes, I usually bring this if I am bringing lunch from home. I really like it. I also have a square container. I will get back to that in a minute, but the concept is basically the same. Inside my Eco lunchbox, inside my lunchbox, I usually keep a smaller container for dips or dippings or sauce or nuts, something like this. And this came with a Polito lunchbox, and I really like the size of this because you can keep all kinds of stuff in here, which is lovely. In context of small containers, I always bring a tiny container of some sort, because you never know if you want a snack, and then it's great for storing snacks. It's also great if you want just a tiny bit from the cafeteria, and usually they have something dried like nuts and dried fruit and such, and then I can keep it in my own containers. So firstly I have this tiny bag. This was secondhand, thrifted, something like this. I found it, I don't even remember where I found it, but it's really great, and I have a few of these, and they can store dried fruit and nuts, something like this, and you don't have to go out and buy a lot of stuff, because something like this actually works quite fine. However, if the purpose is something that is not dry, I would recommend not using a bag. So, therefore, if you're bringing some sauce, something like this, and you would like to have that with your lunch, you can always use a small glass container. I use something like this. I also store coconut oil in this, or all kinds of dibbity-dabbity things. Use something like this. It's really handy and really cheap. You can get these all over the place in thrift stores and secondhand stores and stuff like that. And they're really handy. And if you find an old one, if you find an old one and this is chapped or broken, you can buy these separately in stores, and usually they do not come in plastic, so that is super handy. But if you like gadget, there's also a whole other alternative, and I've just been introduced to these things and I actually really like them. It's these small metal containers, and right now I store nuts in all of these. This one holds pistachios, this one holds wild hazelnut, and this one holds almonds from bulk. So I use this to store all my kinds of small things. It's really easy to have in your purse, and it's a bit smaller than the glass container, as you may can tell. If you're not up for a really large lunch package or a really large backpack or purse or whatever, this is actually really handy because it's so tiny. This can also hold liquids, so you can store salsa or guacamole or something like that in here, and that would work just fine. That is my tips for food. My overall tip when it comes to food is prepare what you want. It's really hard to be zero waste and spontaneous. Then you have to bring a whole lot of crap, and you don't want that. So I usually clear my mind the night before I'm going, whether I want to bring something from home or buy something there, and then I will pack my bag. When it comes to drinks and water and stuff like that, I usually bring something that can hold water because I get really thirsty really quickly, and if you have a long day, of course you want something. I do not like plastic bottles at all, even though we have a returning system here in Denmark that it will always get recycled, and that is great, but I like to distance myself as much as I can from that process as well. Of course, there are loads of alternatives to zero waste and plastic free drinks and foods, stuff like that, storage. If you have another idea, I would love to hear it, so please just always leave it down below so I can learn something. That would be lovely. But my two alternatives are either a glass bottle like this. This is something that I bought with contents. It is an Italian soda drink, and they come in glass bottles, so if I'm thirsty I usually find a store that sells this, and then I have my drinking bottles. I think we have 4 of these at the moment, and they're really handy. I use them for all kinds of things, and when I'm going to clean them I pour boiling water inside and just let it stand, and when it is cooled off a bit I shake it and then boom, out, and that's it. So that is what I'm doing if I just want to have water with me. I bring my glass bottle. There is another way to do it, of course. We have a tap at uni where you can get fresh cold water. So usually I do not bring my water from home. That's silly. So usually I just bring my eco jar. I will of course always leave this down below. It has a hole, that's why I bring this when I want water at uni. I usually bring this, and then I bring my stainless steel straw as well. So bam, what do you know. This is also working splendidly if I want infused water in the middle of the day. Then I usually bring one of my small containers with lemon or lime or berry, something like that, and then you can make infused water on the spot. My last tip, which is an overall tip, and as I said earlier, it is be prepared and prepare yourself for what you want to do the next day. It's very hard to be zero waste, and unorganized, if you know what I mean. So you have to think what you want to do the next day and then bring equipment accordingly. Yes, you may see that I put on a sweater. That's because the camera ate the last bit while I was editing. I don't know what happened, but the bit where I say goodbye was missing, so I had to do it all over again, which is fine, it's okay. I like talking to you guys. So I hope that you liked the tips that I put in this video, and again, if you have something else or an alternative, leave them down below in the comments. I would really like to read them. Also, if you want to see more of my zero waste videos, you can follow my channel right here on YouTube. Just click the subscribe button and it would make my day. You can also follow me on Facebook, facebook.com/thepictureofmary. That would also make my day. Or check out my Instagram, where I'm also called Gittemary. And of course my own blog, gittemary.com. I am looking forward to seeing you guys next time.